Blaine Fowler joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline, our dual threat analyst on BYUtv for both football and basketball. Blaine, how you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? I miss you. I need to get in the studio one of these weeks so I can actually see your lovely faces.
Then do it. Just come in studio, Blaine.
Maybe next week. I'll have to talk to Ben and we'll see.
If you're a real friend, you'll show up in studio.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
I just put all kinds of pressure on myself.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Let's start with football, Blaine. Our Twitter question today, what is the biggest need BYU needs to address on signing day in terms of a position group?
I think the biggest need is the same every year, even though people think we're stacked on the offensive line. I think on the offensive line, I think that up front is where BYU needs to get better, and where the gap between being great and just being good has been the last several years. And so to me, offensive and defensive linemen, that's where I think BYU can stockpile talent. That's where I think Kalani and Mike Empey and this group that's going to be recruiting Ed Lamb, where they can upgrade the talent level the most. And if they do, and get back to the days when BYU would just maul people up front. They would do it on the offensive and the defensive side. When they were winning championships year after year in the WAC and in the Mountain West, it was because they dominated the line of scrimmage. So to me, I know that's not the sexy, exciting thing to talk about, but that is the area where I think we got a chance to see BYU really, really improve.
And that was an emphasis last year. They were trying to load up on O-linemen, and those guys don't have an impact right away. Typically, O-linemen, they get at least a redshirt year before they even have an impact, or they come off a mission and are freaks like Louis Lapuaho. We know you love idiots on the offensive line, but now you look at Kalani Sitake, and he has 6 weeks to get ready for this signing class. How much can we evaluate his ability to recruit in only 6 weeks?
It's not fair to give him a grade this year, but here's the thing. It's not fair, yet I think what we're going to see is we're going to be remarkably surprised when signing day comes and we start to really look at how good he's done in a 6-week period of time. So is it fair that we're going to judge him on this recruiting class? No, we shouldn't. But, hey, let's go right ahead and do it because I think he's going to come out really, really well on this. And really, in a BYU recruiting class, we won't know for 4 or 5 years if they were really good this year with what they did. We'll see all the star ratings and all that stuff, which kind of drives me crazy because there's a whole industry now that's built around that, and we talk about it a lot, but we really, especially at BYU, we don't know if these kids will be any good for 4 or 5 years till they go on missions, come back, get their bodies back in shape, and actually start to compete. But I do think 4 years from now, we're going to look back and go, wow, that's an amazing job Kalani did in a very short period of time, because I think the kids that they're going to bring this year are going to have a big impact on the program.
So BYU and BYU fans have been known to hype a little bit.
Wait, what?
You know, every once in a while. But let's just put on the realist goggles now.
Is that
Blaine.
even possible?
What are the realistic expectations for this new coaching staff when it comes from everything from recruiting to spring ball to now next season and that schedule?
Yeah, so are we talking about realistic for next season, or are we talking about the long-term realistic? Because they're two different things, right, Spencer? What do you want to start
Absolutely.
with?
Let's go short-term first.
Okay, so short-term, what's realistic? A few weeks ago, I was on a show with you guys, and I said, hey, if BYU could go 4-4 with that first 8 games, that would be, in my mind, they'd be doing well. That would be what I might expect. And better than that, I think they can do better than that. I think they can be 5-3 or 6-2. But realistically, 4-4 is not out of the question. And people blasted me for saying that.
How dare you say that BYU would lose 50%?
Yeah, 4-4 is horrible. No, not when it's Arizona, Utah, UCLA, West Virginia, Toledo, Michigan State, Mississippi State, and Boise State. And I'm not looking. I get this. Did I miss any of those in order?
I think you got them.
You nailed it.
Did I get it?
Yep.
Okay. So I've looked at it so many times now, and typically when I look at a schedule, I go, okay, there's an automatic win. That one I don't know about. Oh, that could be a loss. On this one, I literally do not know on any of those first ones.
Yeah, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up in like the first 8 games.
The first 8 games, I cannot write down a win on anyone, including Toledo, and because they were really, really good last year. So now I think they can. The good news is I'm not writing down a loss on any of those 8 either. So what I can't put a win or a loss down, then I think 50-50 is not a bad guess, right?
It's true.
So people get upset with me. Now, the good news is after those first 8, when I look at the last 4, and I don't know if this is the right order because I'm not looking at anything, but Southern Utah, Cincinnati, UMass, and Utah State. I think I got it in the wrong order. But anyhow, those are the 4 teams. I'm expecting them to win those 4 going away. The new program is going to be established. They're going to be running the offense that they're used to running now. They're running the defense. So I say they win out in the last 4. So that wouldn't be bad. 8-4 is realistic next year. It's realistic. Better than that is fantastic. If they win 10 games next year, and what did you do? I'll grow a beard or mustache towards
you heard it here first.
Yeah. Hey, as the producer of Countdown to Kickoff, I'm cool with it. It's just other people on campus that might not be. Okay,
they might not be too happy with it.
And we'll have 8 months. We have 8 months to break down the schedule, right? So, fun initial banter for sure. Let's talk hoops for a minute. After the Pepperdine game, and I was there, I thought, Pepperdine has won 4 or 5 against BYU. They've won, 3 in a row in Malibu. They are the new New Mexico. And you just saw New Mexico last night. You just did a game. Is that comparison fair to you? A team that matches up weird with BYU that has their number for a little while?
Well, they're really good, first of all, this year. And they're really confident. Here's what would happen with New Mexico. New Mexico, they were really physical, and they were particularly physical when they played at home against BYU. And not only were they physical, they were long and athletic, but they weren't long and athletic like UNLV, just a lot of quickness that caused you problems. They were long and athletic, and then they were physically tough inside. Pepperdine is that. You think about who they have, Stacey Davis and Jet Raines and these guys. These are all 6'6", 6'7", but they're not 6'6", 6'7" skinny guys. They're 6'6", 6'7", put-together guys that are experienced and confident, and they like to pound on BYU a little bit. And when they're in the confines of their own home, they're really good this year. And they haven't lost at home this year. So the thing that happens when you say, do they have their number? They think, so Pepperdine goes into a game, especially at home against BYU, and they think, yep, we can beat this team. And here's the scarier part. Because they have now, BYU goes into the game and goes, wow, this team can beat us. Right? That in and of itself is an advantage. And that's where I think BYU was with New Mexico there for a while. New Mexico thought, boy, they come into our place, we will beat them. And BYU was going in and going, this is a hard place to win. So I think the mental aspect of it is just as big a part of it. And you know what? They just happen to be really talented right now. They're just as good as Pepperdine's been, combination of talent and experience in the last 10 years, I think.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation. We are currently discussing BYU basketball. 7 home games left, including Pepperdine, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga, all coming to Provo, and 3 away games in the back 10 for the Cougars. What does BYU need to do to get an at-large berth to the NCAA tournament, Blaine, in the back 10?
I think the worst they can be is 9-1 in the back 10. That would make them. So say they go 2-1 in the tournament, that would get them to 25. That makes them a bubble team. I think at 26 they're in. To be 26, they'd either have to go 10-0 in the back 10 or win the conference tournament. I guess if you win the conference tournament. If you win the conference tournament, it doesn't really matter what you do in the back 10. And you want to know what? If I'm to look back over the years, this is as good a chance as BYU has to win the conference tournament, because I don't think that Gonzaga is dominating on the guard line like they have, and BYU can match up with them. So I think BYU could win the tournament. So if they want an at-large bid, though, I think they need to go 9-1. And why not? Their 3 road games are at San Francisco, at Santa Clara, and at USD. Santa Clara and USD shouldn't be a question. San Francisco's a little more competitive. They're a little bit of a matchup for BYU, and they're 10-9 this year. But that's a game. They're 4-5 in the league. That's a game that they should win. So now they have them all at home. So if they can't go undefeated on the road with those 3 road games and lose only 1 on the road, then I'd be disappointed in them. So 9-1 should be the target. Well, really, the target should be 10-0. Then they get to 26 even if they lose the championship. But what's realistic? We were talking realistic here. 9-1's not out of the question. Then at 25-9, the problem at 25-9 is It depends on what's happening in other leagues. Does a team that's not supposed to win a conference tournament win it and bump BYU off the bubble? Those kinds of things. At 26, I don't think they need to worry about the bubble. So, to me, the target's 26 wins.
True or false? BYU will finish the season undefeated at home.
Oh, yikes. False. I think they're going to lose one.
Okay.
But I do think they're going to go undefeated the rest of the season on the road.
They'll win the 3 road games, 6-1 at home in the back 7.
I'll take it. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. And then you'd have tons of mojo going into Vegas against vulnerable St. Mary's and Gonzaga. I think it'd be good. It's not a 3-bid league, so I think BYU needs to finish in second, though.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're undefeated at home and undefeated. If they can win 10 in a row, now because the NCAA committee also looks at trends, you know, so not
absolutely.
just the overall. They're going to go, wow, this team's on fire right now. That moves them up a couple notches, and that takes them clearly off the bubble at that point. And so, will I be disappointed if I'm wrong? Oh, I'll be so happy if I'm wrong. But I'm just thinking realistic. What can they do? And they still, to me, have to get better defensively more consistently. And they're really good offensively, but they're streaky. You look at they're number 1 in the league in scoring offense. But Gonzaga's 2 and St. Mary's is 3. Then we look at defense. St. Mary's is 1, Gonzaga's 2, and BYU's 8. There's a difference between those two teams and BYU right now. They're really good on both ends of the floor, and BYU is sometimes phenomenal on the offensive end, other times streaky, and they haven't been great defensively, although they showed me that they could do it when they won that game up in Spokane and played great D. So they're capable.
Is there any way that the WCC gets 3 teams into the dance, or do you think it'll just be 2?
Not
or
typically 3. I think they'll get 2. I think they'll get 2. That's just been historically, since BYU's been in the league, what they've been. And you look, St. Mary's is really good again this year. They're back in the national conversation again after not being so great since Dellavedova left, but they're back there again where people are talking about them. And Gonzaga's has got this national reputation. They're not going to fold down the stretch. They're going to be good down the stretch. That's just who they are. So if there was ever a year for 3, I mean, if BYU wins out, they could get 3, but that's a real long shot. I think 2 is a more realistic thought on the tournament for the league.
Blaine, always a pleasure, my friend. And for the record, we miss you too. We hope that you can grace us with your presence in Studio B very soon.
Well, we're moving down to Utah County in the very near future, so there's going to be more chances for me when it's not football season. I'm not in studio every Tuesday for me to be down there with you boys, which I will love.
Okay. We
nothing better than being in the building with you guys. Nothing better.
We appreciate that. Blaine, thanks for the time, man.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.